Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into something crucial, something that affects pretty much anyone managing vehicles professionally. We're talking fleet management, professional ability, and specifically fuel.
Yeah, fuel. It sounds basic, but it's fundamental. It's really the nerve center for almost any transport operation anywhere. Think logistics, delivery, construction.
It really is. And the cost, well, the numbers are quite something. Our sources keep pointing to this figure. Fuel often makes up around 15% of the total cost of running a vehicle.
At least 15%. And in some sectors, heavy transport, it can be significantly more. It's a huge chunk of the budget tied to something that's, well, famously volatile.
And here's the strange part, the paradox we keep seeing.
Yeah.
You, the listener, you probably have all this amazing tech, right? GPS tracking, maybe IoT sensors, fancy planning software.
All the bells and whistles for routes, maintenance, inventory.
Exactly. But then the driver fills up the tank and it's like stepping back in time.
Right. Suddenly it's paper receipts, pump tickets, maybe manual entry into a spreadsheet later.
Yeah.
Much later.
It really is a blind spot, isn't it? You've got pinpoint accuracy on where the truck is, but only a vague, delayed idea of its most critical consumption.
And that delay, those potential errors from manual input, they mean you're missing immediate insights. Big time.
Which brings us to what we want to explore today, this idea of fuel intelligence.
It's about moving beyond just adding up fuel costs at the end of the month. It's about turning fuel data into strategic energy management.
So the mission today is to show why that fuel data, every single liter bought, is maybe the most powerful signal a fleet manager actually has.
Absolutely. It tells a story.
Okay, let's dig into that. Fuel isn't just a cost, it's a window. But hang on, if we're already tracking miles driven with GPS, why is the fuel part the secret sauce? Isn't distance enough?
Good question. Mileage tells you what happened, the output. Fuel data tells you how efficiently it happened. That's the crucial difference. So the core idea here is fuel is a behavioral indicator, fundamentally. Yeah. Every time fuel is purchased, it's logging data points about that trip, sure, but also about the driver's habits, maybe the load they were carrying, even the health of the vehicle itself.
So if you gather all these little fuel stories, these transactions, and analyze them smartly, you get a full picture.
A real-time picture of the fleet's energy performance. Yeah. It becomes less about accounting and more like a diagnostic tool.
I like that. Diagnostics.
Yeah.
One of our sources used a health analogy, didn't they?
They did, yeah. Comparing fuel consumption to something like blood pressure.
Yeah.
Arterial tension.
Right. If your blood pressure suddenly changes, it's a sign something's wrong somewhere in the body.
Exactly. The fuel consumption itself isn't the root problem. It's the symptom. It's the first alert flashing saying, hey, look deeper.
So a spike in fuel use isn't just about the cost of that extra fuel.
No, not primarily. It's signaling an imbalance. Could be mechanical think engine wear, dragging brakes, maybe just low tire pressure.
Or it could be how the vehicle's being used.
Definitely. Poor routing, excessive idling, maybe even, aggressive driving habits like speeding or harsh braking, or sometimes it's unauthorized use. The key is that abnormal consumption is your first objective warning sign.
Okay, that makes the shift clear. We're moving from just checking receipts to actively diagnosing issues. So how does the technology, this fuel intelligence, actually do that in real time? How does it change the manager's job?
Well, the engine behind it is automation and cross-referencing. These systems pull in all the fuel purchase data automatically from different fuel cards, suppliers, whatever.
Okay, so no more manual entry.
Ideally, no. And then crucially, it instantly matches that fuel data against the telematics data you already have, the GPS location, the kilometers driven, the vehicle type, what's normal for that vehicle on that route.
So it compares the fuel purchase to the actual activity.
Instantly. And that's how it spots anomalies, things that don't add up. What used to take someone hours, maybe days of sifting through invoices now happens, pretty much in real time.
That sounds powerful. But implementing it must mean changing how things are done. Old habits die hard, right? What's the biggest barrier for companies trying to move from looking backward at costs to, as you said, steering their energy use?
It often comes down to mindset, honestly. There can be resistance to change, maybe even a fear of too much transparency.
Interesting.
Managers are often used to operating in what we call a control mode, looking back, checking the boxes, justifying spending, ensuring compliance.
Right, proving things were done correctly after the fact.
Exactly. Fuel intelligence kind of forces a shift towards a steering mode. It's more predictive, more forward-looking. You have to trust the data to signal potential problems before they become big costs, not just document them afterwards.
So the cultural shift, really. From accounting for the past to actively managing the future energy use.
Precisely. It requires a different way of thinking about the data.
That idea of steering versus just controlling feels significant. It gives the manager power not just to see where money was lost, but to actually anticipate future issues, right? Spotting inefficient vehicles or routes before they bleed the budget dry.
That's the goal. But, and this is a common theme whenever we talk digitalization, it often turns out companies don't just need more data thrown at them.
They need better data.
Better, cleaner, more accurate, yes, but critically, more readable data. Data that makes sense quickly.
Readability.
Yeah. If the dashboard looks like a spreadsheet exploded, you'll spend all your time trying to figure out the tool instead of acting on the insight.
You got it. A clear, well-designed dashboard that just shows you the energy situation at a glance. That's like 50% of the decision-making process right there.
Yeah.
If you need to export 3 reports and run calculations just to see if one truck is underperforming, well, the signal gets lost. Steering fails. That struggle with actually knowing what's happening is summed up perfectly by a quote I saw from a fleet executive. They said something like, "What costs me the most is not the fuel itself. It's not knowing where it goes."
That hits the nail on the head. The price per liter, you can't control that much. It's market-driven. But the cost of not knowing who used what, when, where, why, that's the part you can manage. That's where fuel intelligence comes in.
And it provides concrete checks.
Yeah.
Not just trends, but actual validation.
Yes. Immediate checks against errors or misuse. The sources gave some really clear examples.
Let's hear them. How does it prevent issues?
Okay, take a simple one. Physical impossibility.
Yes.
Let's say a delivery van has a 100-liter fuel tank, standard.
Right.
The system sees a transaction reported for that van for 120 liters.
Can't happen.
Exactly. It's physically impossible. So the system immediately flags it, maybe rejects it, sends an alert. It catches pump errors, maybe potential fraud. Right there. Instantly.
Okay, that's straightforward. What about using location data?
Right. Context is key. Say a refueling transaction pops up for a vehicle, but the GPS data shows that transaction happened 300 kilometers away from its assigned depot or route.
And there's no authorized trip explaining why it was there.
Precisely. The software flags that as an anomaly. It's using the context, location, trip data, not just the fuel amount. That's intelligent prevention.
Got it. So once you have this solid foundation of real-time checking and analysis, where does it go next? You mentioned AI earlier.
Yeah, that's where it gets really sophisticated. AI takes it beyond just spotting obvious anomalies. It starts learning the normal pattern.
Learning. How so?
It learns the expected fuel consumption for each specific vehicle on each specific route, maybe even with specific drivers or typical loads. It builds a baseline of what normal looks like.
Okay, so it establishes a norm. Then what? How does that lead to prediction?
It looks for deviations from that norm. Let's say driver A always takes Route 7, usually with a similar load, and consistently uses, say, 28 liters per 100 kilometers.
Okay, that's the learned baseline.
Right. Then one day, driver A does the same route, same conditions, but the system sees consumption jump to 32 liters per 100 kilometers. The AI knows instantly that this jump is outside the normal variation for this specific scenario. It flags it immediately.
Ah, so it's not just comparing to a fleet average, but to the vehicle's own history in that context.
Exactly. Much more precise. And the really smart part is it doesn't just flag the drift. It can start suggesting why.
Oh.
By cross-referencing with other data points. Is there a fault code from the engine diagnostics? Is the tire pressure sensor showing low? Has the idling time increased? It moves the manager towards what you could call predictive energy maintenance.
Predictive maintenance based on fuel use.
That's clever.
It is.
Yeah.
Because abnormal consumption isn't just wasted fuel money. It's often the earliest sign of a developing mechanical issue. Maybe friction from a sticking brake, maybe just wear and tear causing inefficiency, maybe tires, things the driver might not even notice yet. So the fuel data becomes this incredibly rich diagnostic signal about the vehicle's health, potentially catching problems way before a warning light comes on or a breakdown happens.
That's the power of it. It's a holistic view. And when you achieve this kind of fuel mastery, this true fuel intelligence, there are really 3 big benefits that ripple through the whole company.
Okay, let's lay those out. What are the 3 key impacts?
First, obvious one, financial stability. Cut waste, prevent fraud, optimize efficiency, you protect your margins. Simple as that.
Makes sense. Second.
Performance. Knowing exactly where energy is being lost lets you take immediate action. Better route planning, driver coaching, quicker maintenance interventions, everything runs smoother.
Financials, performance. And the third?
The third is ecological impact, which is increasingly important, right? Every liter of fuel you save isn't just money saved, it's CO2 emissions avoided. It directly reduces the environmental footprint.
Right. And that applies everywhere.
Absolutely. Doesn't matter if you're running long-haul trucks, local delivery vans, construction equipment, service fleets. Optimizing fuel helps the bottom line and the planet.
Economics, performance, and ecology. A powerful combination, all stemming from getting a better handle on fuel data.
It really is. If I had to boil this whole deep dive down to one single thought, one quote that captures it, it would be this. It's not the fuel that costs a lot, it's the lack of control.
The lack of control.
Yeah. Once you have the knowledge, the real-time insight, you can make better decisions instantly. And better decisions lead to better economics, better ecological outcomes, and just plain better performance overall. Knowledge enables action.
A really clear picture of how shifting from basic accounting to strategic energy management can transform fleet operations. Thanks for walking us through why fuel data isn't just a cost, but this key behavioral signal.
My pleasure. It's a fascinating area.
And thank you, our listener, for joining us on the deep dive. We'll leave you with a final thought to chew on. Thinking about your own work, or even your personal life, what other simple, maybe overlooked costs or resources could be meeting time, wasted materials, administrative tasks, might actually be telling a deeper story? What could be your hidden behavioral indicator, signaling an inefficiency you haven't seen yet? The data might be right there, just waiting to be understood. Until next time.